But first, let's turn our attention to one of the biggest issues facing young Indigenous players. It's easy to simply marvel at their wonderful skills, but away from the game, they have to confront problems of assimilation and loneliness. Eddie Betts has seen too many youngsters fail to reach their potential, and he's dedicated himself to offering help and support.
Eddie Betts will never forget the homesickness he suffered when he left his Port Lincoln family to play AFL. He says overcoming the isolation and discomfort of living in a large city is the biggest obstacle facing young Indigenous players.
If you want to play AFL at the top level, you've got to step out of your comfort zone, you've got to take that next step, and your family's always going to be there for you, but you just, like I said, you have to make yourself uncomfortable, because then you'll never learn if you don't make that next step. Eddie
says he was fortunate to have an Indigenous mentor at Carlton who helped him adjust to life in Melbourne.
As a young Indigenous player, it's always good to have a senior Indigenous player at that club, because you're very shy, you don't talk to anyone, and you know, if you've got a senior Indigenous player there, you kind of bond with them straight away.
And that is why Eddie's mission in football is to give youngsters a place they can call home.
And now coming across here, you know, we've got Charlie Cameron, Wayne Malera, we have Anthony Wilson, who still comes around my house for dinner once a week, Carmela Shulman, Curtly Hampton, and Charlie. So, you know, I tend to try make my house a home away from home for these kids to come in, and we call it a mob night, to have a nice big feed and just have a yarn and talk about stuff.
He says it's vital for all clubs to have senior Indigenous players to act as role models and help prevent the terrible waste of youngsters quitting the game.
It's just hard seeing young Indigenous kids pack up and leave. You know, they've got so much talent in the world. You know, you've got people out there that's dying for their spots, and to see them pack up and leave, it's not good.
Eddie is grateful that his extended Indigenous family gives so much in return for his hospitality.
All these boys come around to my house, and I've got my two sons calling them uncles and kicking the footies with them, and they're like babysitters for us. So, you know, they do a lot for me than what I do for them. So I thank them for it.